5 weeks of the year have gone by. What have you done? We've got 47 weeks left of the year. What are you going to achieve up to then? Because at the start of January, we had the whole hype, or everyone talking about motivation. This is where we come up with new goals. This is where we start building on our future. This is where we actually start again. But it's not about starting again, because all that hype, all that motivation from the start of January dies down. You have all these people talking about productivity, motivation, and all of that just goes. By the end of January, what do you have? Apart from the false hope that you had at the start of the month. Maybe you failed on something, and then because of that, you have no willpower to continue. You've got no motivation to continue. You don't know what you're going to do anymore. You kind of just give up and wait and hope that next year that motivation won't die down. These 4 weeks that we have in February are the reset. Every week you're going to think about the person that you want to become. You want to think about the actions that they are doing daily. If you want to be a person who's lost some weight until a certain amount of time, what is that person doing? What is your goal self doing? Do they eat those 3 bags of chips just because every single day? Do they have that every single day as their emotional snack? No, they don't. If you have a goal, but you don't know where you're starting from, how can you come up with a path that gets you where you want to be? Maybe you're starting from Y, which is one route to get there, but you might be starting from X, which is another route to get there. So if you do want to get to your goal self, first you need to reflect. What have I done? What am I doing? Then you make the readjustments. Nothing will happen overnight. This takes time, which is why the reviewing is so important, to see where you actually are. Where in the progress line are you? Because at the end, it's always going to be progress with the reviewing, with the readjustments that you make into the accumulation of getting yourself into a better place. After those 4 weeks of February have gone by, you still have the 10 months of the year left, and you can take that to your advantage by breaking them down weekly and then into days to analyze the good and the bad. You can have a bad day, you can have good days, but at the end, the good days will always outweigh the less productive ones. But don't let that one negative day stop you. Just because you've messed up on one thing does not mean that your week has to go badly. And then before you know it, the end of the year arrives and you have built so many steps from where you started into where you want to go. Those micro steps, as I see them, into achieving your macro results. By having these steps, it's going to easily allow you to get to the end of the month goal, the 6-month goal, the end of the year goal. I'm not telling you not to have long-term goals, but you need to achieve those little steps in order to get where you want to be. Because for example, I can't just hope that by the end of the year I'm going to lose X amount of weight. I can't just hope that and then let the end of the year come. But what have I done in the meantime? Just given up at the end of January just because all that hype, all that motivation has disappeared? That's unfortunately not how it works. So by the end, with those little steps that I make, with those solid weeks that I build, and always look back on what I've done, that's how I know to readjust my steps in order to get there. That's going to make the path so much easier. At the end of the day, it's a bit like trusting the process. You do have to trust yourself, not just giving up on the moment that you mess up one day. Try again the next moment that you realize it. Because at the end of the day, the people that give up are always going to wait for the new year. They're always going to wait for everyone to talk about that motivation. They're always going to wait on something else to get that boost to start them achieving their goals until it will all die down, just like it happens again and again and again. So what are you going to do this time? Are you just going to wait for the next motivational video? Or are you going to start chasing your goals now? Because I know what I'm doing. I'm following my plan. And I know that by building these micro steps, I'll achieve the macro results.